Hello and welcome to Evansville Podcast. My name is Jason Burton. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Today's episode, we are talking with Jason Salstrom from USI. He's discussing the new APPCOM. It's an application competition, which not necessarily just mobile apps, but it can be any kind of business app or whatever. But the deadline is November 27th, which is not that far away. So we wanted to rush this information out to you. There's still time to get your idea in and go through at least the initial phase. So we talk a little bit about what is all involved with this app competition, kind of the goals behind it, how it will help our community, help our area with some economic growth, hopefully. And it's just a lot of positive things can come out of this. So exciting times for the area. We appreciate USI putting this application competition on. So we want to get to the information. Thanks to Jason for coming on and talking about this. We also talk a little bit more about the importance of startups and that kind of entrepreneurial mindset in the community and how it can actually help the bigger companies that we have already established. So we talk a lot about that as well as the app competition. So let's get into it. Thanks. Jason Salstrom, welcome. Finally, been wanting to talk to you for a while, but you keep ducking me, and
I've been trying to. Yeah,
I finally cornered you, and you got a app competition coming up here really soon. We want to get the word out.
Yeah, the deadline's very soon. Deadline for submissions is the 27th of November, coming up quick. The semifinals will be January 14th. 14th, okay. And the finals are actually the 11th. And, more information will come out about those, but primarily we just want to get those submissions in right now by the 27th. We're looking pretty good right now. We've got a good quantity and quality of submissions to go forward with, but yeah, we could use some more. We could use some more. We don't want too many. We can manageable amount would be good.
Right.
But we're doing pretty good.
Yeah. So the USI is putting this on for the area. It's for the geographical area, like I guess defined like southern Indiana and Kentucky is
southwest Indiana.
Yeah,
I mean that's
that whole
really
greater Evansville area kind of thing.
Right. Our mission is really to try to create more jobs, especially an interest in the IT space, new ventures, app development, and we're defining that broadly. So it's not just mobile apps; it can be it's software applications broadly defined. Doesn't have to necessarily have to be a consumer app or something like you might typically have on your phone. It can be an app for a specific industry sector, business to business type app. Okay.
So if you're a business, like a smaller business, and you have an idea, but maybe you didn't have the
resources
the people
of the know-how
or whatever,
or something like that. Yeah. So some of this is in response to companies that have ideas for apps that might serve their clients better, or for new ventures, just kind of sitting on the back burner, sitting on the shelf. That maybe they've done a little bit of coding on it, or maybe they just kind of sketched it out, or maybe it's just a thought in the back of the head. So part of the design of this competition is to provide them that impetus and resources to move something forward, so they can outsource some of the support to USI students. As well as get some resources. We're going to have workshops to help move the ideas forward. We're going to possibly have some, the winners will have cash resources. First place is going to receive at least $10,000 cash to help move the idea forward. Second place, $5,000. The first round, I guess you'd call it the semifinalists that are selected. It's going to be in the neighborhood of 10. Each of them are going to receive a little bit of money to help prepare for the semifinals, as well as materials to help prepare for the semifinals.
Okay, so if I don't know anything about coding, but I have an idea, an app idea or whatever, this is not a problem, right?
This is not a problem. Right. This is not a problem. We're going to help you turn that idea into something tangible.
Okay.
No coding required.
Okay.
The finals. Again, there's no coding required throughout this entire competition. We will help you develop something, formulate your idea sufficiently that it can be translated into coding. It'll be, evaluated, assessed, judged on, part on its potential to be transition into a coded product and then possibly be monetized, and that potential can be part of the evaluation process.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I know there's a limitation there. The only limitations really are like you have to have a USI student on your team, right?
That's right.
They don't have to necessarily be a coding student, or it could be whatever you need, that kind of a person, right?
Right. So most of the applicants so far have reached out on their own initiative and found students that meet their need. So coders have been reaching out to marketing students or psychology students or graphic arts students to bring into their team to add strength. Not just the student for the sake of having a student to qualify the competition, but to add strength to their team.
Yeah.
So, and if you don't have to do that, then reach out to me and I can help find that student talent for you.
Okay. And then if you don't necessarily have an idea, but you want to help out in some way, this is also an opportunity, right?
Yeah. Go to our website, appcompetition.org. You can apply as a participant. We've got a number of people who are applying. We've got graphic artists from the region. We've got other entrepreneurs from the region that have applied just to join other teams. So we're going to try to match those up. There's no guarantee, but we're going to try to match those interested parties up with with an app development team.
Okay. So what's the idea behind the competition, I guess, being spread out? Like normally hackathons and stuff like this are like a weekend or something, but you've got this spread over a few months.
Right. The intent of that is a couple of things. I mean, one, the typical competition, your business plan competitions, app competitions, a lot of times they turn in kind of into hit and run competitions where companies will swing in, startups will swing in, take the money and run, move on to the next one. So we don't want that. We're our mission, USI in particular, we're established by the community to support the community. And this is part of that reach out, growing in the community. We want to grow the community. We want to grow our local IT tech economy. We also want to make companies, regardless of the company, more familiar with what digital can bring to the company. So, as this so-called digital revolution's happening, our businesses, our entire economy needs to start taking advantage of digital. Otherwise, they're going to fall behind. So, manufacturers, retail, it's not just software development. It's not just mobile app development for social media or whatnot. Companies need to be more digital. Manufacturers need to be starting leveraging the Internet of Things and digital manufacturing. So it's really kind of meant to raise the awareness of digital generally. So we're really reaching out to multidisciplinary teams because it's not just your coders that are building digital products.
Right.
Especially that's when we're having a couple workshops on design thinking, which is really about bringing multidisciplinary teams together to design products.
Yeah.
So a graphic artist or a marketing person, business person, we've got nurses designing software. Mm-hmm. They're not going to code it probably, but they can design it a lot of times, frankly, better than the coders can design it.
Yeah, as a coder, I do not take exception to that. Designing is the hard part.
Right. So yeah, most of the coders that I run into, they want to be, tell me what to do and I'll execute.
Exactly.
But it's the designers that need to bring those multidisciplinary teams together to design these ideas. So we're going to have a couple workshops. The participants who make it past that first cut, we're going to have KSM Consulting from Indianapolis are coming down to give design thinking workshops.
Okay.
The first one will be on December 15th. The second one will be on January 5th.
Okay.
Then we're going to have a lot of just open workshop opportunities to come in primarily at Innovation Point. Sometimes at USI, we'll just have the facilities open. You can come in, get advice, mentoring on developing your app idea.
Okay. And so maybe we talked a little bit, you said something about resources. And I know when I saw a presentation of this, you mentioned Marvel app as like a prototyping tool.
Right. So we're definitely embracing and frankly, a lot of the participants and from the industry want to learn some of the more lean and agile tools to product development. Yeah. So one of those tools, Marvel app, is a prototyping or some people call it prototyping tool. And I'll explain prototype. It's I think as we talked about before, the original prototype a lot of people point to is the Palm Pilot back in the 80s, where the guy who invented that, before he started building anything, he walked around with a piece of wood and he kept just drawing what that interface might look like. And he kept iterating what that interface might look like until he found something that he thought that he would actually use. And then he shared that with other people, and they carried around a piece of wood for a while and just, kept modifying it until they got to a design that they really thought they would use before you wasted any money or resources building anything. Mm-hmm. And that's really been embraced by the software community. I mean, design thinking is used by IBM, is used by Apple, is used by Google extensively. They've iterated into a science. Procter & Gamble turned around their company back in the 90s using design thinking. It's not something new. It can be used. So the workshops are going to be really valuable for all the participants, not just the coders. It's going to be valuable for managers, as for any kind of product development, marketing development, branding, anything like that. It's a really useful methodology to take on any of those kind of challenges.
Yeah. So this is the first year for this. This is going to be a yearly thing, though. You're anticipating?
This is going to be an annual thing. Yeah. This first year is a bit of an experiment. The structure of the competition is different than most competitions. One of the reasons for that, and like you mentioned earlier, being extended, is because we want the participants to be rooted in this region. Mm-hmm. So ideas that come out of it, ideas that we give the $10,000 to, or the training to, we want whatever comes out of there to stay in this region and create jobs in this region. So by extending it like that, people can't fly in, compete, and then fly out. They have to have roots in the region. Yeah. And this first year, we're keeping it fairly small in scale because it is a different kind of competition. We want to work out the kinks. Next year, we plan on growing the competition and having more categories that can create value for this region. We might have categories, an app development category and advanced logistics, for example, since we have a strong logistics economy around here. Sure. Things like that. So this first year, we're keeping it a little bit smaller in scale. We've got a good manageable size of participants. We'll welcome a few more in the next couple of weeks, but it's looking pretty good right now.
So and people will hear this after the deadline, unfortunately. Okay. So, but is there something like that they can still do to participate after the original November 27th deadline? Yeah.
I mean, the semifinals is a pretty interesting and an exciting event. We tested it last year at Tin Man, the format of it. Yeah. And so what we did last year, we had 9 startups there, student and non-student startups that each gave 1-minute pitches. And then each of the teams went to their booth space, basically tabletop, where they had marketing material and that type of thing. And then we gave all the attendees, we had about, I don't remember, somewhere between 85 and 95 people in attendance. We gave them all play money, like Monopoly money. Right. And then they went around and they invested this Monopoly money, and they gave us, which was the attendees really enjoyed it. People came in off the street, had heard about it on NPR. They got wind of it and covered it, and it was really well attended. People enjoyed it, but more importantly, it really helped the teams get comfortable talking to people, pitching their idea, because they had to convince these people that people took it seriously. It was like, it was kind of a gamified demo day where people come in with their Monopoly money, investing. The startups had to get pretty comfortable talking about their ideas, explaining it to a wide range of people. So then, that's how we're going to select our finalists. So we're going to select somewhere in the neighborhood about 5 finalists are going to be selected largely by that. Now we're not going to risk losing a good idea because it doesn't have mass appeal. If we get that logistics app that people just aren't sure about investing in, your general audience doesn't invest in a logistics app possibly. Sure, we're not going to risk losing a good idea for a small niche customer segment. Right. But we're going to bring in investors to assess those ideas as well. We're going to bring in people from that field who can assess the idea and see if it has that potential within those smaller niche customer segments. Gotcha. So we're not going to lose a good idea just because it doesn't have mass appeal. Right.
Because it lost to my burping pineapple app or whatever.
Right. Exactly. exactly. It reminds me of that those GE commercials where it's got the app.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the guy, he's a coder at GE. Right, going to be building this, but the people are more impressed with the app that does something with pictures or something like that.
They have no idea what the people are actually doing. Yeah.
Right. So,
yeah.
So that'll be open to the public. Cool. It's going to be, we're probably going to limit at about no more than 100 coming in. So that'll be, we'll publicize that, and people have to RSVP early to get into that. Gotcha. And then the finals are going to be more of a traditional panel pitch situation. Now that'll be open to the public as well. to some number of the public. However, that'll be more of a typical panel of judges that'll be assessing that. But we want to bring in judges, investors that can add value to these new ventures. So we want to bring judges who have either connections in that industry segment or connections to venture capital, that type of thing. So it's not going to be. We want judges that can assess the ideas, but also potentially add value to the ideas.
Yeah. Now this has nothing to do with the actual competition, but I think I won't say nothing because they're related, but just a question in general on maybe startups and entrepreneurial type, the smaller entrepreneur type things. Like, why is that important for an area like Evansville? Because we have all these giant manufacturing places, or whatever. We're pretty good at plastics. We're pretty good at manufacturing. We've got healthcare. Like, those are the big employers, right? So why are these small startups? Why is that important for the area?
Well, a number of reasons it's important. It's important for these big companies. It's not just important for startups and the startup community, and that's good to energize the community, to make sure that there's opportunity for new ventures, new economic development, new job growth, and new sectors. But it's also Rolls-Royce is a great example. So they do a lot of their R&D. They outsource their R&D to startups. They might even spin out a startup. Increasingly bigger companies, they're cultivating ecosystems around them because the big companies just are not agile enough to keep up with the pace of change in markets right now. Right. People are expecting new products at a faster rate, and big organizations get bureaucratic. So, I mean, we've even had some big companies, they come to USI because just the bureaucratic obstacles and structures and just how slow things move. Yeah. They'll come to us to do just some materials testing. They could do it inside, but it just takes too long. To do some product development, these type of things, just because it takes so long to do it internally. So building an ecosystem around your company to develop new product ideas that you can quicker, and then they're brought back into the company. Mm-hmm. We have a couple companies right now that are spinning out smaller companies. So. Okay. That's one reason why the big companies should be looking into supporting startups. Yeah, supporting startups, cultivating entrepreneurship within the companies. So it's the entrepreneurial culture around works its way into the companies as well. So companies can very quickly become non-competitive if they don't stay ahead of the curve. Was it Jack Welch said, if the pace of change outside of the company exceeds the rate of change inside the company, the end is near, something like that, paraphrased. So our region needs to be, alert to that. It applies to regions too. Okay. So one thing that USI is doing beyond the APPCOM program. Okay. So we've got APPCOM program. We also have our Technology Commercialization Academy. We have our Equal Innovation Accelerator. And yes, we can help startups launch with those, but we're also help businesses outsource new development. So I get approached by companies not just with software products, but have ideas. They've got engineers with sketches. These big companies have mid-level engineers with sketches of possible new ventures. We're positioning ourselves to help these companies figure out what those profit models are for those new ventures. We can prototype those ventures. I mean, if it's a physical product, piece of hardware, we can prototype those, even do small batch runs in our Applied Engineering Center. Yeah, that place is crazy. Yeah. So, we're making that more accessible to the region. Okay. So we can build stuff, we can develop business models, we can develop marketing, branding to help existing companies launch new ventures, which is really, startups are important, but more important is from my perspective is helping existing companies grow. Okay. That's one thing that we haven't been doing enough of in this region. So they can grow with applying those same principles that startups use. Right. They can use those lean, agile stuff. Right. We can help them test the potential of new ventures before they waste money investing new ventures. Yeah. Was it the Google Sprint? Is that what you were talking about? That whole mindset? Right. Google Sprint. Yeah. Google Sprint is part of the design thinking school of principles that I mentioned. And we tested that over the summer quite a bit. And it's a efficient way to move ideas forward and very, very quickly, evidence-based moving ideas forward. So the sprint process, usually it's a 5-day sprint where you go from figuring out who you're designing for to coming up with a solution, building a prototype, testing those solutions in 5 days. Wow. It's an efficient way to especially for decision making. Do we want to invest do we want, will our product be bought?
Yeah.
And is it, that's the bottom line.
The faster you can find that out, the better.
The faster you can find that out without spending much resources in it, the better. So,
okay. And then the TCA program that you mentioned, that actually is a really cool, I didn't know, and last year I think was the first time I became aware of it. I'm not sure how long it's been around, but they were using Crane naval, like the patents and stuff, right? The intellectual property from them, and at least the iteration that I saw.
Right.
And they were making business cases out of this military ideas or something. So is that still the focus of that, or is that
it's not so much the focus. That's where we started. Okay. So that's where we started about 5 years ago with that, where our goal was to take Navy intellectual property, Navy patents, technology that was designed for warfighters, basically to solve battlefield problems. We're talking a lot of stuff that blows up, a lot of stuff that does damage, but some other technologies too. Some cool electronics technologies. They do cybersecurity. They do quite a wide range of things. So we would take those technologies and try to commercialize those. It's very hard to do. Nobody's quite figured out how to do that yet. It's very challenging. But because it was so challenging, we had to be innovative and going out and testing different processes for doing it. So we turned to a couple of years ago into lean and agile approaches towards developing these, coming up, ideating around these technologies, discovering the opportunity, validating the opportunity, then building business models. And we've launched, 10, 15 companies doing that through that process. Now we've taken the skills that we've developed, that capacity to discover opportunities and take advantage of those opportunities, hopefully scale those into revenue generating, job creating businesses. We're taking that now focusing on existing businesses, not exclusively. We're still doing the other thing, but we're shifting the focus more towards existing businesses. So if you have ideas, if you have technologies developed to solve internal problems or problems for one client, we can help you figure out, okay, can that product, that technology, make you generate a new revenue stream for you in some customer segment, some market space.
Okay. Yeah, that it's fascinating just that's going on in this area. Just like I was in my bubble or whatever, so I didn't know about it. But yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, that's one thing that that kind of blows my mind. Is also a bit disappointing, but that how many people don't know how much really cool stuff is going around here. And we got some incredible companies around here doing really incredible things. And people need to be aware of those, so we try to connect students with these companies. So part of my mission is keeping our most talented students generally most talented students, especially keeping them in this region. Mm-hmm. So by getting these students working for and possibly creating their own job with an existing company is a great way to keep students locally. Create new jobs for more students, and that's that. Back to APPCOM. That's part of what APPCOM is about.
Sure,
really trying to, grow your community, grow that software development community, create new ventures, attract more talent to that space.
Yeah, there's no reason we shouldn't have a thriving software development. I mean, we have good software development people, but we're doing our thing, right. I mean, we're entrenched in our lives, and we got our corporate gigs, So there's, but having a nice startup community would be very helpful, I think. Yeah,
just getting them, getting them out of their bubbles, out of their office space, out of their corporate jobs, and putting some of their talents in a collaborative space. Those proverbial collisions, if we can get them out working together, and that's part of the mission of APPCOM, is try to just to give more energize that community. Get them out, get more activity in that community. Give something another. You've got your Evansville Tech Group. There's your different user coder groups, that type of thing.
Right.
That's that evidences that there is community, and there is a desire to kind of for there to be a community. Hopefully something like APPCOM will give a little bit more energy and give them give these communities an opportunity to focus on have some fun with.
Yeah, you have fun, but you make something cool.
But also, also, I want it to be like a platform.
Right.
So that, the regular people out there can know how much, cool stuff is going on. We've got a lot of talented developers that are doing cool things, and that these companies need to be thinking about, okay, we've got this developer base, how can we leverage this? So I approach companies with APPCOM. Okay, how can you leverage APPCOM? That's part of the design itself was very much informed by companies, independent coders, freelancers, but companies as well. Now, what would a competition look like, or some kind of programming look like that you could leverage? So this is both for companies that are interested in this, about talent, about getting to know talent, attracting talent for potential employment, to work with them. So they'll come in, work with some students for a while, work from other people in the region, that these could turn into job opportunities for the students. Right. As well as, like I said, there's definitely a number of our competitors are coming from companies that just need that impetus to move an idea off the shelf and actually get it moving. They're kicking themselves because they got this idea that they're just sitting on, and they just get in the momentum of meeting the client's needs, and keep looking at this opportunity that's sitting there on the shelf and just letting it pass by. So one of the companies has been sitting there for 2 years with this idea and just killing them that they're not moving on it. So they're using APPCOM to move forward on it. So.
Great, yeah, that's great, because I've been in companies where you have to take care of the dollar first when you're a big company.
Sure.
So you have to do whatever it is to get the big customer, but then you have these other things that could really help, but they might take a little longer, or whatever reason you don't do it. So that's a great idea. Right.
And so APPCOM, that's part of that, and then also just the other USI resources to kind of outsource some of that work. If you don't have the bandwidth inside or the knowledge inside to see if this idea really has legs, that could be a new revenue stream, you can come visit us and we can help figure that out for you.
Yeah. Since you've been here at USI, like from, I don't know, how many years has it been that you've been at USI?
I've been at USI 2 years, 2.5 years. Yeah.
So that's long. I mean, it's not a long time, but it is a long time, I guess. So is there like a big change you've seen since you've been there in the Evansville area and the stuff that you're kind of focusing on, or is it slow to adapt?
I think there is definitely change. I think you see change all over Evansville. I mean, I think I wouldn't separate the change that I see kind of in the entrepreneurial community. I wouldn't necessarily separate that from the change you see at Haney's Corner or Franklin Street.
Sure.
There's kind of this, seems to me, this upswell of entrepreneurship, broadly defined. Social entrepreneurship, environmental entrepreneurship. People kind of taking responsibility themselves to make things happen, not worrying about regional leadership, doing it for them, making things happen from the grassroots up. So I definitely see that. I look forward to seeing a little bit more complementary support from the regional leadership. But I think that there's definitely the pace of change, the pace of development. I think that we're very fertile in this region. I think we've got a very strong community. You got people with goodwill willing to come out with a little bit of leadership goes a long way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, it does. Well, thank you for coming on and talking about it, and maybe we come back whenever get close or further along in the competition.
All right,
talk a
great.
little bit more.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks again to Dr. Salstrom for coming on the show and talking to us about what is going on with the app competition. If you need to sign up, go to appcompetition.org. There's also a link to it in the show notes. Just go to evansvillepodcast.com. You will find the information. Also, while you're there, check out other episodes, recent episodes. We've been putting out a lot of great content, a lot of interesting people. So we're very happy to bring you that content. So thanks. And as always, good job, everybody.